morning, Prairie UU. Good morning to all of our mothers, grandmothers, aunties and sisters and cousins, and all the women who inspire us to rise this morning and be called into this sacred space. As we do this with these words from Julia Ward Howell from 1870.
Arise then, women of the day, arise, all women who have hearts, whether your baptism is by water or of tears. Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands shall not come to us reeking with carnage for caresses and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We women of one country will be too tender of those of another country to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs. From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. It says, disarm, disarm. The sword of murder is not the balance of justice. Blood does not wipe out dishonor, nor violence indicate possession. As men have often forsaken the plow, the anvil, at the summons of war, let women now leave all that may be left of home for a great and earnest day of counsel. Let them meet first as women to bewail and commemorate the dead. Let them then solemnly take counsel with each other as to the means whereby the great human family can live in peace, each learning after his own time the sacred empress, not of Caesar, but of God.
Good morning, Prairie, and welcome, family, friends, and guests. Thank you for joining us on this Mother's Day of 2021. We're going to open the service by singing hymn 1010, We Give Thanks. It's a song by Canadian singer-songwriter Wendy Luella Perkins, who is still active and performing. So please join as you're willing and able in singing We Give Thanks.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and this far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and this far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
Welcome to Prairie UU. I offer you a virtual hug and all that comes with the love and celebration of our Prairie Unitarian Universalist community. We hope you feel welcomed in a sense of inclusion. We want to acknowledge you who are joining us for the very first time or relatively new, whether you are here in Parker, Colorado, or my hometown of Anaheim, California, or if you're from the mountaintop, a UU BIPOC community, or anywhere you are in the world, we want you to know that you are welcome here with us at Prairie UU.
And I surely still do miss my mother. Doesn't matter how old that I grow, mother's love will stay with me all through life, no matter where I go. Ever since the Lord called and she left us, parts of her flow through me every day. God has taken her, but no one could ever take mother's love away. Mama could be strong, but you knew that she loved you. She taught me how to walk and talk and pray. Since she's gone on to heaven, all the memories of those days, and I think of the things that I didn't get a chance to say. And I surely still do miss my mother. Doesn't matter how old that I grow, mother's love will stay with me all through life, no matter where I go. Ever since the Lord called and she left us, parts of her flow through me every day. God has taken her, but no one could ever take mother's love away. Always there the first thing in the morning, making sure that I got up for school. Get yourself ready to go, she said. Go to class and learn some more. And remember that there's no one in the world better than you. That's why I miss my mama. There ain't no blues that have been written that could make me feel this way. I lost the one that was there for me all my life. The day the Lord took Mama far away. Oh, how I miss my mama, and I surely do still miss my mother. Doesn't matter how old that I grow, mother's love will stay with me all through life, no matter where I go. Ever since the Lord called and she left us, parts of her flow through me every day. God has taken her, but no one could ever take mother's love away.
This month we focus on story, and today we're focusing on our mothers and women who inspire us. Please join me in these next few minutes of prayer and meditation as we reflect on our mothers and our inspiring women today. Today we celebrate our mothers, our biological mothers, our adopted mothers, our surrogate and our foster mothers, our grandmothers and our aunties who act as our mothers, our sisters and our cousins, our teachers and our friends, and others who inspire us as a mother figure. And as a way to be connected with each other in this non-physical but virtual way, we bring our breathing buddies with us each morning. This is my breathing buddy, Ralph Waldo Jr., and I invite you now to, if you have your breathing buddy, to bring your breathing buddy out and share, if you are joining us in Google Meet, and share your breathing buddy with us as we enter this time of prayer and reflection. Now, I invite you to find a source of inspiration, maybe your breathing buddy or someone you're seeing across the screen, or some window or light or nature. It's a beautiful day out today. I invite you to find your source of inspiration as we settle in to this time of reflection. I invite you to take a nice deep breath and then exhale. Another nice deep breath and exhale. Let the tensions that were in your body when you came into this space be released. As you take another deep breath and exhale. In and out. We now come to a time in our service where we offer up a lamentation and petition, a time for us as a community to reflect on the pain of the world, and also ask each other, the universe, or the divine, for the care of those who are suffering around us. This morning I call upon the spirit of Rhea. On this day when we celebrate motherhood, we also recognize that many mothers and parents have lost children through a variety of means, whether it be illness, accident, violence. We ask you, Rhea, to take care of the mothers who are estranged from their children, children who are missing, who have died. And Rhea, protector of children, give these mothers and families strength and hope and healing. I also call upon the goddess Nashia, and I ask you to comfort those who have lost their mothers, orphans in biology or spirit. Give them comfort and opportunity to heal relationships and find peace. Beloved community members, I invite you into this time to speak now peace and love into this world. I invite you to do that by naming anything that you hold in your heart. I invite you to hold community members who, because of loss in their family, have had disconnection between generations. I invite you now to, if you are joining us in Google Meet, to unmute yourself and to say that name out loud and join us in communal prayer. If you are not joining us on Sunday morning or in Google Meet, I invite you to enter that name into the comments section of wherever you're watching from, and we will add that to our communal response of love and send peace out and that intention out with you. I now bind not only that has been made known to us, but that which is also remains unknown and unnamed, but held in the heart of our community members. I bind that as we enter this time of celebration, as we recite our chalice, covenantal words, and light our chalice, and we connect with our larger Unitarian Universalist community. We light this flame as a symbol of our covenant to each other and the world around us as we recite our sacred promise.
We covenant to be a welcoming and loving community, offering each other fellowship, sanctuary, and a joyful spirit. We seek justice and peace in all our deeds and relationships, and we respect and honor both the individual and the collective search for sacred meaning and truth. We revere and celebrate the diversity of our earth and are guided by the spirit that connects all life as we reach out to offer our best to ourselves, our community, and our world.
May the goodwill that we have just offered up be held in our hearts. May it be a sign that we come to this place to connect with the words of our mouths, the song in our souls, and our also very silent self as we share these next few minutes of silence.
Good morning and happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all those mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, stepmoms, aunts, sisters, daughters, friends, everyone who cares for a child everywhere. Happy Mother's Day. I think you're going to enjoy, the little ones are going to enjoy this video we're going to watch. It's of Piglet getting a bath. And I think all the moms are going to really enjoy listening to Kanga's words in the song because it's about a mother's intuition. And we know what's going on. Usually always know what's going on. So, happy Mother's Day and enjoy.
You act like I'm going to cook you for dinner.
Aren't you?
Why, of course not.
Oh,
I'm going to give you a bath.
cook me instead.
But Rue, dear, don't you know by now? A mother always knows what's best.
It's a mother's intuition to make a little space. It's her quiet mission to tidy up her place. A mother's intuition is like a kangaroo's. She hops around, she mops the ground, she fusses over you. A mother with her intuition will know just what to do. It's a mother's intuition to wash your baby well. She won't forget behind the ears and the extra soap suds on the tail. A mother's into cleaning. She'll clean until she's through. She's smart enough, she's wise enough to add up 2 and 2. A mother with her intuition will know just what to do. A mother has a feeling, she pays special attention. If someone is concealing, if someone's playing tricks, she rubs and scrubs and scours the secrets until the answer clicks. Then she takes a brush and polishes your teeth. She'll make you shine and sparkle new until she finds the real you underneath. Isn't it charming? Just mummy and little Rue, fresh as a daisy, sparkling just like new. It's a mother's intuition. It's a mother's intuition. It's a mother's intuition.
Now, you know what's next.
I'm afraid to find out.
There's always 2 things you get after your bath. A cookie mwah, and a kiss.
Ooh.
Piglet.
Oh,
Love you, Mom, and happy Mother's Day. I want to thank all of the moms at our church for everything that you do for us.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you so much.
Happy Mother's Day!
Mother's Day.
We love you.
You.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
It's not your birthday, but okay.
Hi, Mom. You're probably seeing this Mother's Day on Sunday in church. So, I just want to tell you that I love you for everything that you do for Ian and I and Dad, and how helpful you are to everybody. And my life wouldn't be the same without you. I love you.
So, Mom, I always wanted to know what we could do on next Mother's Day, but I'm sure it will be awesome. And I love you, and I just want to say goodbye.
Now let's join together in singing our youth out.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
This morning, we will be centering on these words from Tiny Beautiful Things by Cheryl Strayed. Every mother has a different story, though we tend to group them together. We like to think that partnered moms have it good and single moms have it rough. But the truth is that we're a diverse bunch. Some single mothers have lots of child-free time because their kids are regularly in the custody of their fathers. Some seldom get a break. Some partnered mothers split childcare duties with their spouses in egalitarian ways. Others might as well be alone. Some mothers of both varieties have parents, siblings, and friends who play active roles in their children's lives in ways that significantly lighten the load. Others have to pay for every hour another person looks after their kids. Some mothers, single or partnered, can't afford to pay anyone for anything. Some can and do, others can and won't. Some are aided financially by parents or trust funds or inheritances. Others are entirely on their own. The reality is that, regardless of the circumstances, most moms are alternately blissed out by their love for their children and utterly overwhelmed by the spectacular amount of sacrifice that they require. Responsive reading. Please respond in community together with the words, "Our stories are sacred and give us life." We are grateful to all the mothers and mother figures in our lives. May we remember to thank them for sharing their lives and stories with us. Our stories are sacred and give us life. While we all have many things in life that seem ordinary, we must remember that we are all unique, good, and special. Just like no two sets of fingerprints are the same, neither are our stories. Our stories are sacred and give us life. Sometimes our lives are linear and simply move us at a steady tempo from one place to another. Other times our lives move quickly and then slow to a snail's pace. May we recognize that all these times are chapters in the great stories of our lives. Our stories are sacred and give us life. We know that our stories are complex, deep, and mostly private. May we remember that we never know anyone else's complete story and try not to make assumptions about another's story based on our own bias or conception. Our stories are sacred and give us life. Many people accept great books and stories as sacred scripture, and sometimes we fail to see the scripture unfolding in our lives and right before us. May we recognize that every life is sacred, good, and holy, and that every life is a sacred scripture to be shared. Our stories are sacred and give us life.
I know that as we start this conversation, you may be asking, who is Mary? And what do we want to know if she knew what? Some of you might have a sneaky suspicion about who this Mary is. And you're probably correct if you think that the Mary that I'm talking about is the Mary, the mother of Jesus. As I thought about what I could say to you this morning about Mother's Day, I kept coming back to this song, Mary, Did You Know? Now, for those of you who know the song, you're probably wondering, why is he talking about Christmas, a Christmas carol on Mother's Day? Well, here it goes. If we can have Christmas in December and July, then why can't we have Christmas in May? And besides, I'm the pastor, and it's the first weekend of my birthday week. So guess what? I get to preach about whatever I want, right? Well, sort of. Just kidding about that. As I've reflected, though, in preparation for this message on this song, it became more and more clear that this song for me is not about the birth of Jesus and Christmas at all. I think as you listen to the song, you can easily center Jesus in the middle of it. I mean, probably what the writer was intending. But for me, it's really about Mary's story. It's about a mother's journey with her children. In this case, Mary and Jesus. As I reflect on this song, as one is posing a question to an aging mother reflecting on her life. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole Mary didn't die, but was assumed into heaven, body and soul, conversation. Even though, for those of you who had theological conversations with me, you know that I will think that's a really cool conversation about faith and miracles and the power of God and Mary's role in the life of her son and also the early disciples and early Christian communities. I think that's really cool, but I digress. Now, before I go any further, I want to be clear. As you know, I'm not a mother, and I don't pretend to speak to you for all mothers. What I can speak to you, though, is as a child of a wonderful mother and as a parent myself. Now, most of you know, maybe or you do, but I was raised Roman Catholic. But in doing so, I was also theologically heretical in my understanding of Mary. Because I always thought, if there was a God, I wanted her to be like Mary. Someone who would be there for me every day. Someone like my own mother. Instead of some aloof Father God who lives far away in the clouds, someplace where I can't connect to. So today, Mary still holds a special place in my theology and heart, but more symbolically than any metaphysical or theological sense. So, now back to my humanist understanding of who Mary was and this song. So, let me paint you a picture that I see in my mind's eye when I think of this song. I reflect on it as one about an elderly woman at her deathbed. Joseph, her husband, has already died. She is surrounded by family and friends, and maybe her other children. When one of her sisters, or maybe even her cousin Elizabeth, the mother of John, approaches her bedside and asks, "Mary, did you know?" And there would be a conversation to follow that would lead to a discussion about the life of Jesus, her son. Did you know what life and motherhood and your children would bring you? I don't think she knew. I don't think she knew any more than any other person would know where their life would lead early on. And while I think Mary's story is unique, as is every mother's story, I also think that there are pieces of Mary's story that transcend all other mothers and their children. I mean, I can really expect any mother to know. I mean, does any mother know? The Mary that I imagine is one from the 1987 movie A Child Called Jesus. The movie covers the missing years from Jesus at the age of 3 to 12. And in the movie, we see not a meek Mary with a blue headscarf and praying hands, but instead a strong woman who is, for the most part, is raising her child on her own in the very hostile environment of a Roman-occupied Galilee. Now, I haven't seen the movie in a number of years, but there was one scene that particularly stands out to me. Now, throughout the movie, there's this whole back and forth, and Jesus is continuously getting himself into trouble. And at one point, he comes running into the house. He's late or something, and Mary is both worried and angry and irritated. Well, not both, all three. And as he dashes into the kitchen, he runs under the table, and Mary starts to scold him. And at that point, Joseph intercedes with a, he's only a boy type comment. And it's at this point that Mary, with all her might, just simply puts Jesus and Joseph in their place. Now, this is the Mary that I knew. This is the Mary that I know that raised her son, sheltered him, protected him, supported him, and held him in her arms as he died. Did she know? Does any mother know? Does any mother know that their children will one day walk on water? I mean, sure, there are lots of mothers out there today who think their children walk on water. Well, many of us probably disagree with that perspective. But seriously, does any mother know if their child will be a great healer, a doctor, or feed the poor, or house the homeless? Will their child be a leader of a liberation movement? Will their child inspire 2,000 years of followers? Would Mary have known? Would any mother know if their child will do great things? I think all mothers hope and pray this will be the life of their children. But I don't know any mother that says, yes, I know my child will be great. Live long and flourish. So Mary's story starts with that same leap of faith that every other mother takes when they decide to have a children. Mary models that leap of faith that all parents, but specifically mothers, take. That leap of faith, that instance when you are told you are pregnant and know that there are just no guarantees. There are no guarantees that this pregnancy will come to full term. There are no guarantees that that baby will be born alive and well, nor guarantees that the mother will survive the birth itself. There are no guarantees that you will see any milestones or do the right thing as a parent, because there just is no way for a mother to know. This is the Mary that I imagine. And on top of all of that, what I also envision is that this is a 13, 14-year-old young teenager who's being visited by an angel and asked, not told, will you have this baby? And Mary saying yes. Well, the Christian tradition and testament describes this as a great honor and a moment of faith. I also have to believe that an unwed teenage mother-to-be had to be terrified. No differently than any teen and unwed mother would be today. And after all, Mary's story, while unique, is also very common. Common, beautiful, and sacred. Stories of mothers that need to be told and celebrated. When I reflect on this song, I also hear the story of a mother's love and support of their child. And while relationships may change, I don't see where the core love ever does. I know that my mother was my best friend. When I was a teenager, I pulled a lot of, and I'll use the word stuff. And she worried about me. We fought, and I'm sure I made her cry. But at the end of the day, she loved me unconditionally, and I knew that. I knew that she would always be there for me, support me, and love me. And one of the lines in this song asks, when you kiss your little boy, did you know that you are kissing the face of God? And I believe that most mothers, when they kiss their children, believe they are kissing the face of God. And by God, I mean beautiful, innocent, perfect, and a pure expression of love that they see in their children. I know that I myself am not perfect. I'm far from it. But I also know that I was never anything less than perfect in my mother's eyes. And it was the same for her with my brother, and the same for my mother and her siblings with their mom, and the same for my kids with their mom. I think it's something we all feel as parents. We all feel and want to pretend like our children walk on water. I don't know if I ever could have walked on water like Jesus had, and I don't think that Jesus could have ever walked on water the way he did if Mary hadn't been by his side. Now, I know that everyone doesn't have great relationships with their mothers. I know that all mothers are not ideal. I know that all children are not ideal. But I also believe that for the most part, for most of us, a mother's love is ideal. And for those of you that didn't have an ideal mother or an ideal relationship with your mother, I hope and pray that you learn to forgive her. Sometimes our mothers may not be what we hoped for. But even for all their faults, I hope that we give them grace to recognize that they are human too. As I go back to this song and reflecting on this idea of Mary, there is never an overt message or mention of this part. There's never a straightforward message of Mary's pain. In this song, the question asks Mary, did she know her son would be Savior, deliverer, and provide for the dead to live again? Now, these are wonderful and wondrous and great sounding things. But with each of these came not only greatness and wonder, but also pain, heartbreak, and brokenness. Mary watched her son do all of these things. She also saw him ridiculed, mistreated, beaten, and eventually executed. She performed the act that no mother should ever have to do. She stood at the foot of the cross, and when they took his body down, she watched, and she held her child in her arms as he died. And we ask, Mary, did you know? Why would we ever assume that a human being would take on all of this if they knew? Why would we assume that Mary knew? You see, we see mothers every day who lose their children all around us. And we know that those mothers go into motherhood with an acceptance of this risk. As I said earlier, there are no guarantees. Some of these children that these mothers lose are lost to illness, others to accident, others to violence. And these are things that mothers deal with every day. Some of our mothers more than others deal with this reality and this fear and this threat every day. Some of them get to see their children achieve greatness. And others feel the heartbreak of loss long before their children ever get a chance to live. I remember the line from the movie Steel Magnolias when Malin recounts her daughter Shelby's death. And she says, "I realize as a woman how lucky I was. I was there when this beautiful creature drifted into my life, and I was there when she drifted out. It was the most precious moment of my life." As beautiful as that sentiment is, I can't help but feel how there could be any more fathomable pain than to watch your child die. I know for my father, losing my brother in some ways broke him. To have him lose his child was just unnatural. It's not the way the world is supposed to work. And in some ways, I'm glad that my mother was not here to see that day, like her mother was when my mother passed away. I can't imagine the question, "Mom, did you know?" And this brings us back to full circle. Mary, did you know that your baby boy? Did you know that you were kissing the face of God? Mary, did you know? Did you know? I don't think when the angel Gabriel came to Mary and asked her that question, and she said yes, that she could have ever imagined what was to come. What I do know is that her story and all mothers' stories are common, spectacular, and sacred. And so I ask you today on this Mother's Day to hear your mother's story and revel in it. Don't let that story be untold. And remember, no matter what mistakes she makes or you have made, your mother never knew, but she had faith and hope. And from that faith and hope that she had came you. Blessed be.
Mary, my betrothed, you have the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen, and the sweetest smile. Don't be afraid.
I'm the Lord's servant.
Help us! Please!
Lady, I believe your son is the promised king of his people. What is his name?
His name is Jesus.
Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day walk on water? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would save our sons and daughters? Did you know that your baby boy has come to make you new?
Mary,
And this child that you delivered will soon deliver you. Mary, did you know that your baby boy would give sight to the blind man?
Peter,
Mary,
where's my
did
son?
you know that your baby boy would calm the storm with his hand? Did you know that your baby boy has walked where angels try? And when you kiss your little baby, you kiss the face of God. Oh, Mary, did you know?
My son.
Mary, did you know
miss you. Come out of him.
The rain will leave, the tongue will speak, the praises
Who are you?
Mary, did you know?
Tell me who you are.
That your baby boy is Lord
I am
of
Jesus.
all creation. Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day rule the nations? Did you know that your baby boy is heaven's perfect lamb? And the sleeping child you're holding is the great I
Hello. Greetings from sunny Cape Coral, Florida. We are a community of people who come together in love and support of each other. Part of being in this community is by sharing our resources, our time, talent, and treasure. We need to be taken care of in a variety of ways. One of the teams that does this for us is our Committee on Shared Ministry. The Committee on Shared Ministry works closely with our pastor, AJ, to help set vision and mission of the congregation, strengthen our covenant, and provide feedback on the health and ministry of the church and our congregation. Prairie UU is a liberal light in the prairie. As a community, we are still evolving about our understanding of this messaging. What does it mean to be liberal? What does it mean to be a light? The COSM has been a great experience for me. I had listened to stories of people wondering how we can have a better future, people hoping for a better sense of community, hearing people's stories of fighting the good fight, and at the same time, figuring out themselves and the struggles of other members within our community. I admire the stories of people who have not given up. That gives me hope. We welcome Maurice and Margaret and Deidre to COSM and thank them for stepping up. We thank the congregation for participating by voting. This is the democracy we all want at work. The Committee on Shared Ministry is always available to each of you for questions, comments, and even kudos. We will be meeting tomorrow night and invite you to join us if you have anything you would like to know about or share with us. Otherwise, you can contact COSM via email or the suggestion box on the website for any further concerns. We would also like to thank you for giving to our community fund. The fund is managed by the COSM and Pastor AJ to assist members of our community who may be in financial need. If you are in need of immediate financial help with items like making a utility payment, auto repair, or medical copay among others, please let Pastor AJ or a member of the CSM know. We invite you to be a happy giver to Prairie UU. While we cannot pass the plate in person, we do need your continued support as we continue to build our beloved community. I would like to thank you for your offering to our community. As we know, it is generously given. Please know that it is gratefully received.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
I want to wish everyone a happy Mother's Day if you're celebrating. I also want to, just as we go forward, to remind you to celebrate every day, celebrate your story, celebrate each other's stories. And as we leave this service, may we go forward recognizing that our service does not end here in this moment, but continues as we build the beloved community throughout the week. As we go forward with these words from Mark L. Bellatini. Go in peace. Live simply, gently, at home in yourselves.
Act justly, speak justly.
Remember the depth of your own compassion. Forget not your power in the days of your powerlessness.
Do not desire to be wealthier than your peers, and stint not your hand at charity. Practice forbearance.
Speak the truth or speak not.
Take care of yourselves as bodies, for you are a good gift.
Crave peace for all people in the world, beginning with yourselves, and go as you go with the dream of that peace alive in your heart. Amen. Amen. Shalom. Salam. Namaste. Blessed be. Thank you again for joining us in our service today. I want to invite you to join us this coming Sunday for as we continue our theme of stories, and our service will be entitled Growing Queerness. And so I hope that is intriguing to you and you will join us. But until then, have a blessed and wonderful week, and we will see you, if not sooner, I hope to see you Sunday morning. Blessed be.